Joining me now, we have Alexi McCammond, Msnbc political analyst and host of the podcast In Sync with Alexi. So as I welcome you, how many of the more extreme cabinet picks do you expect to actually go through?
Well, as we have seen in the few picks that Donald Trump has announced already, he is not afraid of picking people who are viewed as controversial, not just by many in media and otherwise, but by fellow Republicans. As we have seen in the case of Matt Gaetz, we have seen Republicans come out against RFK Jr. leading HHS. There is something to be said, though, about the Republican Party's willingness to fall in line with Donald Trump. You've seen some congressmen already saying things to the effect of, if Donald Trump tells us to jump 3 feet, we'll jump 3 feet. Really just remembering or reminding folks, rather, that they are willing to do whatever it takes to help President-elect Trump enact his agenda and get the people he wants installed in his cabinet and his administration.
So we know House Republicans, certainly Mike Johnson, trying to stop the release of the House Ethics Committee report into Matt Gaetz, despite the fact that these reports are usually released even if the member of Congress resigns. And now we are learning that a woman told the committee that she saw Gaetz having sex with a minor at a party. Does it make the optics even worse that they are trying to bury the report? And frankly, do optics even matter anymore?
Unfortunately, it seems as though optics don't matter, at least so far as it comes to Donald Trump and who he's picking. I mean, it makes my stomach turn hearing about someone, and especially a member of Congress who could be leading the DOJ, being alleged of having sex with a minor, which is, of course, rape, because that cannot be a consensual situation with anyone. He has denied it, sort of, in the past, but you just showed the response that his office has given to these allegations, and in light of this ethics committee report not coming out just yet, in which there wasn't a direct denial. They're simply deflecting and asking reporters a tongue-in-cheek question about whether we think Merrick Garland is involved in some sort of cover-up. It is a disgusting and heinous allegation that if you were not guilty of, you would be fighting it every day from Sunday. But apparently he thinks because he was previously cleared, even though young people have been testifying, saying they have seen him doing the things he's alleged of. It is just a crazy situation, and one that should go beyond optics and should go to ethics, of course.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you deep diving into that and explaining it all. But let's just say there's been a blanket denial from Matt Gaetz, and we'll move on to my next question, which is the selection of Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence, which has raised alarm across the intelligence community. Gabbard has no background in intelligence and has made questionable statements about Russia and Syria, including echoing Russian propaganda. So this position was created after the 9/11 attacks to ward off critical threats. Would you expect Republicans to be concerned about those threats being potentially ignored or mishandled?
No, I mean, it's hard to know what to expect from Republicans, especially as we're waiting for a second Trump term. Of course, again, anyone that Donald Trump wants, Republicans will, it seems, rally behind. Of course, we're still waiting to see how that all shakes out formally. But we know that, they want to see Donald Trump's picks get through. Tulsi Gabbard, along with some other picks, is putting Donald Trump in a curious situation, though, because we know the most hardcore of the MAGA base, they don't necessarily view women in positions of power, in a fond's light. They don't necessarily view people of color even in a fond's light. We've seen some of the ways they talked negatively about Vivek Ramaswamy during the Republican presidential primary. So I would expect to see some of that coming from the most hardcore of the MAGA base in the future with Tulsi Gabbard.
What about Sarah Matthews, Deputy Press Secretary during the first Trump administration, by the way, who responded to the theory that Trump's controversial nominees are meant to be a distraction? Let's take a listen to that.
He knows that he is drunk on power right now because he feels like he was given a mandate by winning the popular vote. He has control of both chambers of Congress, and he doesn't have to worry about running for re-election. So in this term, he wants to put up the people that he wants. Okay, so it is not some 40 game of chess that he's playing of trying to put out a sacrificial lamb like a Matt Gaetz for AG, and so that way his other nominees can squeak through.
So regardless of intent, will Republican senators block Gaetz and then potentially use that as permission to confirm his other extreme nominees? Make him, I've heard him referred to as a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, Alex, it's a great question. And we could certainly see something like that happening, not just because senators have already expressed issues with former Congressman Matt Gaetz, but also because from all reporting and conversations, this was sort of an 11th hour appointment and decision. And Matt Gaetz wasn't even really on the list of folks that Trump had apparently been considering for AG. So it's really a pick that took a lot of people by surprise. And as you know well, you don't want to catch anyone by surprise, but especially the people you're relying on to get your person over the finish line.
Okay, Lexi McCammon, always good to see you, my friend. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. What to expect from President Biden's meeting with Xi Jinping in the next hour, plus China's